Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Oneil effect. Last week, we talked about the forward of the book. We looked at the introduction of the book, and I touched on pointers that can help to motivate you and the reason why I wrote this book, and also spoke about different pointers. And we end the book on a great quote last week from Miles Monroe. And so I want to pick it up today, dealing with chapter 1 of the book. And so many people have already started the procession, moving away from happiness. And so the book, as I said, the topic of the book is Stop the Procession. It's your time to win. And so as I said, it's focused on this woman who lost her husband, lost her son, and feel as if the bottom fell out from underneath her, and she has nothing to go back to. And she's on her way to burying her last hope. She's on her way to burying her support stream. And you know what? Many people are right there right now on the road to procession, moving away from happiness, peace of mind, without even realizing that it's happening. They don't even realizing that it's happening. And this is driven by who you surround yourself with. I had to learn who my real friends were. And those are the ones that motivate me to start again. So let's go to the first chapter. And let's kind of break it down for a little bit. As I said last week, we're not going to give you the entire book, because then that would be defeating the purpose of you going out to get the book. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what this is all about. And so chapter 1 says, stop the procession. It talks about the procession, I should say. Chapter 1 deals with the procession. So this deals with a group of people moving or traveling to the same direction. That's what procession really all about. Moving or traveling to the same direction. There can be different type of processions. Some are formal, leaving a wedding ceremony, public celebration for change, or proceeding to a burial, which this was what motivated this book. This woman moving to the cemetery to bury her son. Now, there are also different emotional aspects to a procession, such as moving away from things that create a negative reaction in your life while moving towards the positive. The problem then, what I found, is that movements like these can involve moving away from anger, moving away from hurt, moving away from the next phase of your life or destiny. And these are considered positive movements. But the problem, as I was about to say, is that a lot of times we don't look at the negative movements. We look at the positive, but we really don't look at the negative. There are also the negatives where individuals are moving away from their peace of mind, their joy and happiness, which are sometimes driven by what? Lack of finance, or job loss, constant pain, broken relationship, loss of a loved one. Mine was driven by loss of a marriage, loss of a church, loss of friends, loss of so many different things, loss of self-esteem. And so over the last 6 months, many people, well, not even 6 months, because when I wrote this, it's 6 months, but over the last 10 months now, people have to deal with this whole economic crisis that we're facing. They have to deal with the pandemic around us. And so this has crippled their money, crippled their finances, where many have lost their jobs, their savings, and the majority of their investment being depleted. Now, am I down your street? Because I think I'm down somebody's street. See, that's where we are. See, and so this is your reality. As I said last week, is that life sometimes surprises you, throw curveballs at you. This is a curveball. What I want to do, while I may not get your money back, and while I may not get your investment back by you reading this book, I want to talk to you about how to handle it so that it does not kill you. And when I say kill you, I'm talking about kill your spirit. Because if you have the will to come back, all that you have lost, you will regain and more. But if you stay down on the street of depression, you're not coming back. We're going to talk about that more in the book, depression, and how to rise from depression. Now, it is also believed that because of the stay-at-home orders from this virus, many have experienced domestic violence. That's the road of procession. Many have had suicidal intents. That's the road of procession. Along with it is the high infectivity and fatality rates. People are losing loved ones. Over 500,000, I'm talking about 500,000,000 people, if I'm correct, or maybe billion, I don't know what my numbers is now, has lost, I think it's 400,000 people have lost their lives. Do you know how many uncles and aunts and cousins and nephews are mourning right now? This is life. This is what people are facing. And so this can drive you down the road towards burying it all, burying yourself in your pain, burying yourself in your depression, burying yourself in your hurt. That's what the road of going the road of procession means, burying everything and hoping, wishing that it never happened. Well, it is happening. What you've got to do is find ways how you can get back and come back from this setback. This is how, I mean, there's so many topics in this book that's going to talk to you about that. What I want you to know also is that when I wrote this book, I wrote it off the reality, the moment, not just fiction. I didn't just write about fiction. It's not a fiction book. This is a motivational book. This is a book that is written from the reality that we're facing, the reality that I face in my life, and from other people's stories, biblical stories, and real stories of people who are facing. We talk about Mandela. We talk about that. We talk about Obama. We look at those lives. So there are different aspects of this book that touch on people's life who we are familiar with. And so that's the purpose of this. How do I get back off the road of procession? Because you're on it right now. It's too many times we deal with the positive moments, always celebrating those who are leaving hurts behind, the pain. Whatever else that would be considered negative, we celebrate them leaving that. But no one really wants to deal with those individuals who are already there in their happy place, but finding themselves gradually moving towards losing that peace, happiness, and the place of security. The truth of the matter is that no one wants to feel a sense of loss. We're going to talk about that in the book. Sense of loss, a sense of hopelessness. We're going to talk about that. That's also in the book. Always feeling like life has turned against them after experiencing some sense of joy and peace. How do you handle that? How do you handle this fall from that time of peace and happiness? How do you deal with that? How do I handle that moment when I was once this happy-going, smiling person, but now I feel like the world is on my shoulder? See, a lot of times you don't tell people your story. Well, here's a good thing. Sometimes a book will be your best counselor, will be your best motivator. That's what this book is for. Some stories that you can't tell people, let this book deals with that and tell you how to get out of it. The truth of the matter is that no one wants to feel that lost in their spirit. I used the current state of affairs, such as the pandemic, because the country is experiencing some sense of prosperity, and how many people started to feel like things can be better. People were getting more money, starting businesses, and then here comes this crisis. The woman in the story must have felt this way. She probably was getting used to the fact that her husband had died, and she's already got over that. He died, and she had her sleep in her lonely bed, and she probably got over that, because her son is still here. Getting back some sense of normality was good for her, and then she has to deal with one more loss. Somebody, you're doing that right now. You have to deal with one loss after another, one loss after another, one loss after another. And you're asking yourself, how do I come back from this setback? How do I make it out of this? That's what this book wants to help you to do. Do not quit. Your testimony is wrapped up in your story. You only get to testify if you have a testimony. Remember that. And you only have a testimony if you overcome the story, or if you overcome the struggle, or if you win through the struggle. You can't testify somebody's story effectively as you would tell your own story. If you have overcome something, win this battle again, because you are an overcomer. You know how to win. Win again. Win again. You're on that road right now. And I want to say to you, don't quit. This reminds me of Naomi and her family in the Old Testament. Many of you remember knows Naomi and her family in the Testament, where they once had experienced fruitfulness, just like what we were experiencing in Jerusalem. And then famine struck, and they had to move to a city they weren't familiar with. In that foreign place, she lost her husband and her sons. That is what you call procession. Gradually moving away from what makes you happy. Such crisis drove her, Naomi, into depression and anger, and she calls herself bitter and no longer want to be known as a happy woman, because her name was Naomi means beautiful. It's a happy name. But she said, call me Mara, call me bitter. I don't want to be named anymore as this happy person. You see, that's what gradual procession will do. It will drive you to anger and bitterness, which creates mental instability. See, what drove them from Jerusalem was famine. This story mirrors the story of the subject of this book. And so as we wrap this up today, I want to say to you, the difference was one of them, meaning Naomi, between Naomi and the woman from Nain, one had what they lost returned, while one gained on top of what they lost. Naomi gained Ruth, that restored laughter to her life. It is important then for you to understand that even though you're on the road of procession, you can make it back. And that's what this book is about. How do I get off the road of procession? I want to help you with that. So next week, we're going to touch on more on this topic of the road of procession as we go on for next week. And so I want to leave with you, as I did last week, this quote. Sometimes focus on where you're going and not where you're coming from. It will help you to maintain stability in your life. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for being a part of this book. And so, as I said, I need your support. Go and get the book pre-sale, $20, or support the book by saying, Bishop Oneil, this book has been touching my life. You talking about it on Tuesday nights has touched my life and allowed me to think positively about myself. And I want to support the book. Please help me to get this book to the final stage. As I said last week, it's already accepted by the publishing company. The manuscript is with them. They're starting the process. We just need the finances to finish it. For those of you who have purchased this book months ago, thank you. It is coming. You're going to get it. It's in the process, but we need some help to get it to the final stage. So go to Cash App, donate 201-966-8814, or go to Zelle, oneilministries@yahoo.com. Listen, if you can give 20, if you can give 40, if you can give 10, doesn't matter. I just need everyone to come together and let's support. But if you give $20 or more, the book is yours. $20 or more, the book is yours. If you said, Pastor, I want to buy 5 of these books for $100, go ahead. We need your help. All right? Thank you, and may God bless you. See you again next week, Tuesday.